Some people, translation most people, misunderstand what the term meta means. Meta, in its context, is talking about a group of decks that are highly represented or the most successful decks. And if you're not playing a meta deck, which is comprised of those decks, could be some number of decks that are dominant and or powerful and or popular, you are playing against the meta. The meta is basically what shapes people to make their decks the way that they are. People use that term incorrectly. Now, with that being said, you can play what the fuck you want, just as long as you take the meta into consideration. Let's use an example. YCS in Milan this past weekend, there was a person playing Six Samurai. And of course, you know how it is with Twitch chat, or maybe you don't. Because it was Six Samurai, you saw most people saying this person's a scrub, etc., etc., etc. Listen, motherfuckers, this is a luck-based game. Generally speaking, the monsters are simply a means to bring your opponent's life points down to zero. The more important thing right now are spell and traps. Six Samurai have the ability to make Naturia Beast, which basically just says no to all Qliphort spells because that's the way that they get the ball rolling. The normal spells, Qliphort Scout activated in the Pendulum Zone as a spell, Naturia Beast can negate it. But that's, of course, if you go first and you have the setup and you have a way to protect your Naturia Beast if your opponent just happens to have a way to get it off the field that is not a spell. Six Samurai are not special in this regard. But since we've been talking about it, are Six Samurai good? I think they're decent. You shouldn't just hedge on Shin like that because you can't play three of it. You should be paying more attention to the meta. If you want to play Six Samurai, if you want to play anything else, this is what you have to do. You have to consider the meta that you're playing in. You've seen this shit in OCG. You don't see as many people that used to play Six Samurai play it now because the times have changed. But when you see people that play shit that's not meta, you see them consider the meta in which they're in. I think, what is it, Necros and Qliphorts are like the big two in the OCG, but not everybody plays those because you do not have to. Same concept. You do not have to play Burning Abyss, Qliphorts. What's the other thing? Guess the shit don't matter. You do not have to play those things. But what you have to do is you have to consider the meta because it is really difficult for a player. Not saying that it is impossible because it is possible because it's a luck-based game, variance and all that shit happening. Six Samurai guy, right? You do not have to have a whole lot of monsters in the Six Samurai deck with 3 Smoke Signal and 3 Rhoda. After that, you can figure out, okay, Burning Abyss, right? That's what I'm going to be playing against. Qliphorts, all right, that's what I'm going to be playing against. And then you get into the spells and traps. Not difficult shit. Samurai can main Emptiness. You know, they can play the cards that shit on Qliphorts and Burning Abyss. They can main all these things, or even side them, just as every other deck can. But that does not mean that Six Samurai is some new meta. But as most Yu-Gi-Oh players are, they're sheep, and it's just a matter of saying somebody's bad because they're not playing the meta. And even if they were playing Qliphorts and you gonna act like Six Samurai is the only non-meta deck that has been played this format. Don't do that. Don't do that. You can play whatever you like. You just got to consider the meta first. On occasion, you usually see a non-meta deck do all right. That's like saying Boojers are bad. No, they're not. They're not meta, true, but you can build a Boojan deck to combat the meta. I appreciate everybody for watching. Thank you very much. Uh, can't stress it enough. Before you go, I'd like to ask you to click an advertisement because it helps me pay man the rent to live in this motherfucker. Nigga has to live somewhere. I feel like it's the quickest and the cheapest way to do it because it takes literally seconds out your day and it takes no money in your pocket. If you want to support me, it's the way you do it, and I'm grateful and appreciative. When people say decks that aren't meta right now and they say that they suck because they're not meta, that just shows how truly ignorant you motherfuckers are. Ain't all of you, but you know what I mean.